Now that the 2026 NBA trade deadline is over, it's officially draft season in a way. So I love to do a post-trade deadline mock draft every single year. So let's do one today. So what's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I gave you guys my trade deadline grades on Thursday. Yesterday, I ranked every single team after the deadline. So today, let's do that mock draft that you guys know that I love to do. We have an amazing college slate today. We get our first UNC Duke game of this season. So I'm actually going to run a lottery simulation here because I think the lottery has some interesting implications this year, with the Pacers trading away their first round pick, top 4 protected, and then 10 to 30 protected in the Ivica Zubac trade. We know that the Hawks could get a top pick in the draft either from Milwaukee or from New Orleans. Washington and Utah got to worry about their top 8 protections. The Clippers are probably giving the Thunder a lottery pick, and Atlanta could be giving San Antonio a lottery pick as well. All right, let's run this lottery simulation and see who's going to be picking here in the top 3, who's going to get a chance to get Darren Peterson or AJ Debanza. And I like this one a lot. The Brooklyn Nets end up winning the 2026 lottery, and the reason why I wanted to do something like this today is because the Los Angeles Clippers have the 6th overall pick. This is in that window from the Ivica Zubac trade, which is a very big wrinkle from the trade deadline. The Hawks are picking at 2. Dallas moves up 4 spots to pick at 3. That's going to be fun. Utah 4. Poor Sacramento, they dropped to 5. The Clippers do drop, but that's a good thing for them because the Pacers dropped. Washington drops to 7. And then, yeah, Portland keeps their lottery protected pick. That would go to Chicago. Charlotte at 12. Hey, they could make the playoffs this year. Who knows? And then you have just 2 juggernauts in the West picking at the end of the lottery. So here with the number 1 overall pick, the Brooklyn Nets, man, this would be really interesting. A team that could still have cap space this summer at the trade deadline. They did what they normally would do here as a rebuilding team. They took on some just 1-year deals like Hunter Tyson from the Nuggets, so the Nuggets conduct the luxury tax. They helped out the Toronto Raptors by taking on Ochai Agbaji. They helped out the Boston Celtics by taking on Josh Minot. They'll get some cash considerations or some second-round draft capital in those moves. So the Nets here at number 1 will have financial flexibility this offseason. They didn't trade away Michael Porter Jr. Yegor Drummond looks like he should be in the 3-point contest. I know you just drafted Nolan Traore and Ben Saraf, but I don't think that should sway you from drafting, in my opinion, still the best player in this class, who has, I think, a high ceiling and also a high floor in a way, Darren Peterson out of Kansas. I know he's been a polarizing player this year for a couple different reasons, mainly his availability because he has dealt with multiple lower body issues, soft tissue issues, and you don't want those to linger to the NBA level because the kid is still a teenager. So you hope that he's going to overcome those lingering injury issues. But man, the change of pace, the twitch, the bend, the fluid movement around the rim, this guy is going to be a special scorer at the NBA level. He's drawing a lot of comps to Dwayne Wade, Anthony Edwards, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, the way he's able to score the basketball, even like a bigger Kyrie Irving when he was at Duke. And I do think he could be the 1, he could be the 2. His assist numbers are down in a way because when you're watching Kansas, it's a lot of maybe isolation, it's a lot of shot creation for him, and also he's not really running and initiating some of the offense at times, and it's also kind of been out of sorts because he's not been available late in games for times this year. But if you watched him against Texas Tech, a solid defense, he hit some big time shots late in that game. He obviously had that electric first half against BYU on Saturday a couple weeks ago against AJ Debanza. And I do think right now he would be the number 1 overall pick to any team. Doesn't matter if it's like the Indiana Pacers. Doesn't matter if you have your backcourt figured out. You still got to add somebody like Darren Peterson with the number 1 overall pick, which now gives us the Atlanta Hawks at number 2. Which is just fascinating for a bunch of different reasons because the Hawks just traded for Jonathan Kuminga, right? Another wing. Now, I don't think trading for Jonathan Kuminga would steer them away from going with AJ Debanza out of BYU, but I think they would end up going Cameron Boozer here out of Duke. In my opinion, Cameron Boozer is the 2nd best player in this class right now. I know he's not as flashy and maybe as athletic when you're watching BYU and Debanza or Kansas and Darren Peterson, but Cameron Boozer is a pretty good athlete in his own right. He has just been a dominant, productive player for one of the best teams in the country. He can really operate extremely well out of the post. He can set great screens. I think him and Jalen Johnson can have an extremely well-off 2-man game because Boozer could be one of the best short-rolling big men right away. He has really good touch, really good feel around the rim. You would still need to find, I think, that long-term rim protector, which I think they're still trying to find. It wasn't Kristaps Porzingis. I think they like a Kungwu, but maybe it's like that main rim protector. I don't know if he's going to suit that role. Obviously, Atlanta would be a great Darren Peterson team, given that they kind of need that lead ball handler in the backcourt. But trading for Jonathan Kuminga should not steer you away from drafting somebody like Cameron Boozer or even AJ Debanta. You take who you like, and I think you can have like the Duke forwards going forward with Jalen Johnson at the 3 and Cameron Boozer at the 4. And hey, maybe you're just letting Jalen Johnson initiate the offense going forward. So yeah, we're going to have Cameron Boozer go number 2 to the Atlanta Hawks. So at number 3, Cooper Flagg and AJ Debanta in Dallas. Yes, I would love to see Cooper Flagg be with Cameron Boozer, Cooper Flagg be with Darren Peterson, but hey, beggars can't be choosers here. If you're Dallas and you get slightly lucky here, or really lucky in the lottery for the second straight season, and you're picking number 3, you have to be head over heels to get somebody like AJ Debanta, who could really be a dynamic scorer for Cooper Flagg. This would be the next generation of like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but over here in Dallas. Cooper Flagg can initiate the offense. He can run the point, but both Cooper Flagg and AJ Debanta are going to have one of the greatest point guards of this generation in Kyrie Irving running the show for them while they're on their rookie contracts going forward. So I would absolutely love this selection for them. Yes, you have a lot of wings as it is with like PJ Washington, Christie, Caleb Martin, Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson. None of those guys are long-term building blocks or would have more value long-term than somebody like AJ Debanta. If anything, those guys could be great complementary wings to Debanta and Flagg. And we're learning with the Mavericks and their injuries, you can never have enough wings or enough depth over there in Dallas. So that solidifies the top 3 here, in which Peterson goes 1, Boozer 2, Debanta number 3. 2 of them are going to the East. 1 of them is going to the West. So an interesting dilemma here at number 4 with the Utah Jazz, in which they ended up trading for Jaren Jackson Jr. at the deadline, who's probably not going to play a ton for the Utah Jazz in the second half, given that their pick is top 8 protected. They want to keep that pick, right? They don't want to send that to OKC, and they've been playing some really bad basketball as of late. And when you're looking at the Jazz next year, we're assuming they're going to bring back Walker Kessler. You have Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr., very sizable forwards. Both those guys are almost 7 feet tall. You know you have your main guard in Keontae George. So are you going to go for like the fit in Keaton Wagler, who can kind of slide in right there as the 2 guard? I don't think so. I'm still more in the camp that you take the best player available, and I think that is still Caleb Wilson. High energy, high motor. He's going to fly around defensively. Honestly, playing behind Jaren Jackson Jr. can do wonders for his development as well. I'm not sure if Kyle Filipowski is going to be here long term, and Wilson gives you a little bit more size and defensive upside than like a Cody Williams or an Ace Bailey at the moment as well. So yeah, I still think you go Caleb Wilson. Obviously, in a perfect world, they get Darren Peterson in that backcourt or AJ Debanta as well. But right now, I'm going to have them go Caleb Wilson. So here at number 5, it comes down between 2 players, in my opinion, for the Sacramento Kings. They didn't trade away a Domantas Sabonis, a DeRozan, a Malik Monk, or anybody like that at the deadline. I'm hoping they kind of just release Russell Westbrook. I'd like to see him on more of a competitive team right now. This is ESPN's big board. I think it's a little bit outdated in a way. So there's 2 guards that I'm particularly looking at. One of them is going to be Kingston Flemings, definitely ranked a lot higher now, or Keaton Wagler from Illinois. I hope that he's even in this database right now. Yeah, like preseason, he was 113th or whatever this ranking came out. So it comes down between Wagler's size and scoring ability, or you can kind of get your franchise point guard potentially in Kingston Flemings. And that is a tough debate with the Sacramento Kings right now. On my big board, I do have Flemings a little bit higher than Keaton Wagler. I do want to see a little bit more out of Wagler, and I think Flemings has a higher floor. Wagler has a higher ceiling. They have building blocks, maybe not the best building blocks in the world, like it's Keegan Murray, Maxime Reynaud, Dylan Cardwell, maybe Devin Carter if he has a strong second half. So I'm going to go Kingston Flemings here from Houston. I think you can make a perfect case for Keaton Wagler as well. Flemings gives you good defense at the point of attack. He's a really good ball handler. The guy can knock down extremely difficult shots, like that game against Texas Tech where he went for 40. I know they lost that game, but he was just hitting knockdown 3 after knockdown 3, pull-up jumper after pull-up jumper, getting to the rim, finishing at the rim, and him coming through Kelvin Sampson at Houston is, I think, going to do wonders for his mindset at the NBA level, and hopefully can just be somebody that's going to play hard, want to be in Sacramento, and is going to be the next Fox or Halliburton that came and went. So here at number 6, this is what's interesting here with the mock. We have the Los Angeles Clippers, who fell in the lottery simulation, and I think this is still an easy one for me right here. I think they would end up going Keaton Wagler out of Illinois. They have Darius Garland as their point guard, at least right now. They still have Kawhi Leonard. They didn't trade away a Chris Dunn or a Derrick Jones Jr. or a John Collins, but Wagler has the size at 6'6". We'll see what he measures at the combine if he's actually 6'6" to be a good enough defender next to Garland. For most of Garland's career, he's played with a smaller guard in the backcourt, either Colin Sexton when we had Sexland in Cleveland or Donovan Mitchell, and now he gets to play with somebody a little bit bigger in Keaton Wagler who can kind of help him out defensively and have a better defensive ecosystem around Darius Garland. Wagler can make phenomenal passes with both hands. He can operate off of ball screens extremely well. He also has a really good pull-up jumper to him at the moment and has been probably with Kingston Fleming's the two biggest risers in this draft class. So at number 6, I'm going to have the Los Angeles Clippers go Keaton Wagler, and I actually love that fit for them right now. So here at number 7 with the Washington Wizards, they fall a little bit here in the lottery, right? They trade for Anthony Davis. Who saw that one coming? So Washington could go a couple different routes, right? You have Trae Young, who's maybe not the long-term answer at the 1, but right now he's going to be the guy. He's probably going to opt in to his $48 million player option. A part of me wants to go Mikal Brown just because he has not been as good as Darius Akuffer, LeBaron and Philon. But when you're trying to look at a translatable NBA skill, Brown can be that guy. And I also think you can have Brown in the backcourt with Trae Young. I do think the three-point shot, although it's not been falling this year, will eventually develop for him. I think like Philon is a non-existent backcourt partner with Trae Young with their defensive ability. Same with Darius Akuffer with his size right now. So if you want to find somebody that can be in that backcourt, it's Mikal Brown Jr. Them trading for Anthony Davis, like you could still go with the high upside 4 and Nate Ament at 7. You can go with Chris Nack, who's been playing very well for Houston as of late. Kareem Lopez just had a monster game against Melbourne United last week. Braylon Mullins might be the best shooter in this range as well if you wanted to go that route. It's tough. I don't really love Mikal Brown Jr.'s production, but if we're mocking what can happen this upcoming June, I think Brown makes a lot more sense than Philon or Cup. I think pre-Trae Young, I could see the vision for Darius Akuffer, LeBaron Philon here, but I think if Kingston Flemings is off the board, they trade for Anthony Davis, and this is a weaker big man draft. Now, you could go with Nate Ament, who's high upside. I could talk myself into Nate Ament. It's back and forth in my mind between Mikal Brown Jr. and Nate Ament. I don't hate the idea of Nate Ament, who's going to learn behind Anthony Davis. He can get reads from Trae Young. He could be in that front court with Alex Sarr. He's going to have Keyshawn George next to him on the perimeter. There is a foundation and an ecosystem for Nate Ament to succeed in what could hopefully be a developmental spot for him. There's just so many young mouths to feed, and now you're adding 2 higher usage guys in Trae Young and Anthony Davis. It's really hard for him to get his reps right away. But hey, if you're going with somebody a little bit on the more developmental side, that's not the worst thing in the world, especially if Trae Young and Anthony Davis aren't going to be here by year 3 of Ament's contract or year 4 of Nate Ament's contract. So I'm going to go Nate Ament here. They still have Bub Carrington. They have Trey Johnson. They have Trae Young there. They fall to 7, which is unfortunate for them, but I'm going to have them go Nate Ament, who has been playing better as of late for Tennessee. So we're on the clock here at number 8 with the Memphis Grizzlies. I was going to have see, now it's like, okay, I love Cedric Howard as a backcourt partner for whatever point guard they end up drafting here. I like Philon a lot more than Mikal Brown Jr. right now. I know Philon's been struggling a little bit as of late. Darius Akuffer can make phenomenal reads right now at Arkansas. A little bit of a smaller guard as well, but really not that much different in size from Philon. I would say a decent size gap between him and Mikal Brown Jr. I think I'm going to go high upside for Memphis, and I agree. Philon and Darius Akuffer, it's interesting, they're all juniors as well, have been better than Mikal Brown Jr. this year. I'm not quitting on him just yet. I like Mikal Brown Jr. so much going into the year. I thought there was a really good chance he was the 4th best prospect at the end of it after the big 3. And just trying to think what Zach Kleiman would do at Memphis, it just feels like a Zach Kleiman pick in a way, and going Mikal Brown Jr. out of Louisville. Milwaukee here at number 9. This is a very good thing for Milwaukee, right? They don't trade away Kuzma. They don't trade away Miles Turner or Bobby Portis, and they obviously don't trade away Giannis Antetokounmpo here at the deadline. So are they going to go for somebody in the front court like Koa Pete? Like, they can really add a good player to this roster. And I know they have Kevin Porter Jr. I know they have Ryan Rollins. Cole Anthony is gone off this team right now. I think they could definitely go with another point guard here. And I like Philon. I think they just need that jolt of offense. And I think Philon will be a better scorer than Darius Akuffer at the NBA level. I think if you have him in the backcourt with Ryan Rollins, Rollins can help him out enough defensively. And I think there could be a great 2-man game there. I could see the reasoning for going with like a Koa Pete. Maybe you like Hans Steinbeck or Jaden Quaidens, who's a big question mark. I think Philon, though, is a sure thing to at least succeed right away for the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's what they need. Because I'm going through this mock that they're either going to try to make Giannis happy or they're going to still try to be competitive in 2027. And I think Philon gives you a little bit more upside over Darius Akuffer in that realm. I would love to get Darius Akuffer here to the Chicago Bulls at number 10. We do not need them to take another guard at the moment. They have way too many guards on this roster. We need forwards or bigs right now. And I think what could end up transpiring towards draft night, Chris Nack becoming a top 10 pick again. So I had this as like one of a draft takeaway a couple weeks ago that's on Enjoy's Instagram, that I said that it's a weak center draft and Patrick Gungba could end up being a top 10 pick. And I just really enjoyed watching Chris as of late against Cincinnati, against UCF. The three-point shot is really falling, and I could take Koa Pete here. Since you have Noah Essegay, that should not deter you from taking Koa Pete, but now we have Pete and Buzelis. Can the floor spacing be out there with Josh Giddey? I think Braylon Mullins could make a lot of sense as well. Going forward, like, look at all the guards this team has, right? Like, you have Simons, you have Sexton, you have Giddey. Some of these guys are free agents at the end of the year. I'm assuming, though, they're going to re-sign Jaden Ivey. You have Trey Jones. You have Rob Dillingham. There's just so many guards, and I don't mind going Braylon Mullins. If you go Mullins, that's fine with me. But I think because of what Sanak can provide you as a little bit more of a floor spacer, and I don't think the defense is that different from like Hans Steinbeck. Yes, there's a defensive gap between him and Jaden Quaidance 100%, and him and Patrick Gungbo right now, in my opinion. But I think Sanak gives you a versatile offensive weapon, high upside, high length, or really good length, I should say. Good feel for a center in a way, and I think just having Josh Giddey initiate the offense for Chris Sanak would do really well also. So I'm going to have Chris Sanak go to the Bulls here at number 10. On the clock, 11 here with the Portland Trailblazers. Scoot recently came back. They're getting Damian Lillard back next year as well. I think I'm going to go Braylon Mullins here at number 11 for the Portland Trailblazers. Braylon Mullins had a nice first half against St. John's on Friday night. Was a little bit quieter in the second half, but he's definitely one of the best shooters in this class. Big time shot maker, I will say. And I think under bright lights, he will come through, catch and shoot. He's a good athlete. He can attack the rim. And I just think the Blazers need to add to this bench in some type of scoring fashion, because the Ryan Rupert, City Sissoko minutes this year, like Caleb Love, it's a fun story and all, but Braylon Mullins gives you so much better of an impact player off the bench, where I'm fine with that. I could also see the vision of Koa Pete, who I'm actually going to have go right here to the Charlotte Hornets. I could also see Jaden Quaidance go here if you want to take the swing on Quaidance. It's been a little weird as of late for him at Kentucky. He's only played 4 games this year. You're worried about the injuries. I don't think it's a sure thing that he enters the draft. Like I said, it's a weak center class, so he definitely could. But I think this is where Koa Pete can go. We know that Charlotte was open to trading away Miles Bridges at the deadline. They ultimately did not get an offer that they thought it was worth it, so they're keeping Miles Bridges. Obviously, the starting 5 with Bridges this year has been phenomenal with Bridges and Moose in that front court. I think Koa Pete, though, gives you another bruiser down low, somebody that could set good screens for LaMelo, Miller, and Concanipple. Unfortunately, though, he's not really a shooter, but he's got a really good mid-range jumper. He's going to crash the glass, and I think he's just a high-energy guy to bring to Charlotte right now. But who knows? Maybe Charlotte's picking at 30 because they're going to win it all. So 13, Oklahoma City is picking here from the Clippers. This pick could end up being higher as well. I know it's been a trend with them in a way, but I'm going to have them go Jaden Quaidance, and there's a chance Jaden Quaidance doesn't play a lot next year, and I know they're getting back Thomas Sorber, but it wouldn't totally shock me if they get priced out of Isaiah Hartenstein in the long term, given their second apron issues. They just traded for Jared McCain. They have him as a guard. You have Cason Wallace. You obviously have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Isaiah Joe. I just don't think they would take a guard here, given that they want to see what Nikola Topic can do. Hopefully next year. I'm not sure if we're going to see him this year at all. I think you could definitely take a wing. Maybe you like Axel Lindenberg, who's NBA ready. Maybe you like Adame Sarr, Tony Yesufu, somebody like that. Maybe Sarr a little bit less. So I would go Jaden Quaidance here. The defensive upside is just unmatched in a way, and what he could be as a rim protector. He's a really good athlete. He's got a really good feel for the game. It's just like what we saw at Arizona State last year. His first game this year against St. John's was so exciting. It's just like he struggled to stay on the floor. Kentucky's had their issues this year. They're coming back a little bit as of late. They had a nice win last week against Arkansas on the road. So we'll see what they end up doing. OKC in this spot as well. It's just this team is just playing with house money. It's so frustrating. So on the clock here at 14 with the San Antonio Spurs, there's 2 guys that I really like. Kareem Lopez out of New Zealand and Thomas Houck out of Florida. And I think just the connectiveness and somebody that can step in right away to maybe give you some of a replacement of Harrison Barnes next year. If he's not going to have as high of a role, or if he signs elsewhere, they could go Thomas Houck. I just think Houck's a better shooter than Mundenberg. The efficiency difference is not too drastic, but I just like the form. I like the quick release a little bit more out of Thomas Houck in a way. Somebody that knows where to be at all times on the floor, where Yaxel's kind of a guy that operates well with the ball in his hands. I think Houck could play very well in a system where he is not going to even be the 4th option. Like, he might be the last offensive option on the floor when he's out there, but he's going to know where to be at all times. So that wraps out the lottery. A quick recap here where we had Peterson, Boozer, Banza, Wilson. I don't think any shocking stuff there. Maybe Nate Ament, I think, was like the big shocker at number 7 to the Wizards. Figuring out like Brown and Phylon was interesting as well. And I just think like Darius Akuff could slide a little bit in a way here, just because the Bulls don't need a guard. The Blazers, I don't think would draft a guard, but maybe they would. Charlotte, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to re-sign Kobe White at the end of the year. Jaden Quaidance, I just don't think they're going to end up taking a guard in OKC, and San Antonio obviously has a plethora of guards right now. So this is where I'm going to have Darius Acuff go 15 to the Miami Heat. Rozier's money's off the books at the end of the year. Davion Mitchell is nice, and he's going to be here for another year. But if you're looking for somebody that can really initiate the offense, I think Acuff is a very similar prospect in a way of Yakuchonis in terms of their court vision on the floor. I don't think you can maybe make an argument Yakuchonis is a better passer, but I think Darius Acuff is going to be a lot better of a scorer at the NBA level, a lot better of a finisher at the rim than Yakuchonis, which was an issue at Illinois last year. And I think Miami could definitely use another guard. So I think Acuff could have a reason for going higher. It's just kind of the way that this board, or excuse me, the draft order fell. He ends up going 15. So 16, we're on the board with the Memphis Grizzlies. I really like Hans Steinbeck here. A little bit more of like a traditional big in a way. Don't really know if he's going to be much of a shooter at the NBA level, but there's been plenty of injuries to Zach Edey this year. It's not a bad idea to get another big man. Obviously, Jock Wandale and Jaren Jackson Jr. are no longer on this team. Aldama's hurt right now, but he's under contract next year. They have a lot of like stretch fours in a way, and like a Jalen Wells, a GG Jackson. So I think they could just add to that front court. Even Brandon Clark, who's had plenty of injuries over the last few years, you can now bring in Steinbeck with their second first rounder. That's actually from Orlando, from the Desmond Bane trade, because Phoenix has a better record than Orlando, so they're getting Orlando's pick. Now we're on the clock with the Warriors here at number 17. I'm hoping that they would end up trading this pick as well. They trade for Kristaps Porzingis at the deadline. A little bit of a shocking move in a way that he was the guy coming back for Kuminga. I hope that he's healthy in the second half. I like the idea of them just adding Jackson Lindenberg, who can help them immediately. You're not taking a project player whatsoever. Somebody that's going to crash the glass extremely well, plays super hard down low. He gets to learn from Draymond Green. And hey, if Draymond Green misses some time, you at least have somebody that's 22, 23 years old that has a great feel for the game already and can step in right away. But I'm going to assume that Golden State ends up trading this pick. We'll have to wait and see. 18, the rich just get richer here with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They could also go with another project player, or they can go with somebody that can help them right now. I like the idea of Kareem Lopez still in this range, a really good athlete. He's got, I think, still a long ways to go in a way. I'd like to see him be a little bit better of a three-point shooter, but his, I think, aggressiveness has really shined as of late for the Breakers over in the NBL. He just, like I said before, had a monster game against Melbourne United. I recommend everybody watching that game. It was exciting, and it really gets you excited about what Kareem Lopez can be at the NBA level. It's like we move on from Ousmane Dieng. Let's bring in a next project for in Kareem Lopez, who I think's more NBA ready than what Ousmane Dieng was. 19 here, the Toronto Raptors. They've been kind of picking in this range. Well, Jacoby Walter was in this range a couple drafts ago, and this team obviously needs a big man, right? I think Patrick Gungba makes perfect sense for them at 19. They trade a second rounder for Trey Jackson-Davis. I mean, Jakob Poeltl's back has been an absolute mess this year. They could get priced out of Mamu in free agency. I have no idea how that's going to look when we get to July. But Patrick Gungba, I think, has a reason to go maybe where I had Chris Anako at number 10. It's just Gungba, probably not going to be much of a three-point shooter at the NBA level, but he's at least taken some threes this year, so maybe you get him with the right developmental staff. You can make it work. Hey, Colin Murray-Boyles has been knocking down his threes this year. I know on smaller volume, but maybe Gungba, you could see the vision of him being somewhat of a small floor spacing five in a way, and Toronto desperately needs a big man. So here at 20 with the Charlotte Hornets, I think I just want like another athletic wing. They have a lot of good shooters on this team. I'm a big fan of Tony Yesufu. The three-point shot has been kind of a disaster this year. It's been very up and down. It's looked kind of forced at times, and even some of the makes, it's like bouncing up, bouncing off the rim, and then going down. It doesn't look clean whatsoever, but this is one of the best athletes in this class. He's extremely fast. He likes to play with a high pace. And if Charlotte's walking away with Koa Pete and Yesufu, two great athletes, two physical players, I love this for the bench unit going forward. And the fact that the Charlotte Hornets are going to have 2 first-round picks this year to add to this young core, oh man, like sign me up for the Charlotte Hornets next year. I think they could have been a Patrick Gungba fit, but he was off the board. 21 with the Atlanta Hawks, who already landed Cameron Boozer at number 2. This is a swap with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They trade away Luke Kennard. CJ McCollum might not be on the team next year in a way. Braden Burries can make an argument for the best Arizona Wildcat this year, for the best team in the country. Braden Burries has been really shining as of late. He's kind of in that tweener position that we all try to figure out throughout the draft process. Like he's too small to maybe be a high-level wing, or he's too big and not as good of a passer and a floor general to be kind of like a pure point guard in this league, but he's a really good scorer. This man plays with pace. I think he would play very well with Jalen Johnson in transition in Atlanta, and they went Cameron Boozer at 2, and you get Braden Burries there, 2 of some of the best freshmen in the country. I'm a big fan of that for Ansi Salah. So the Pistons are on the clock here at 22, who do a swap with the Minnesota Timberwolves from that Mike Conley salary dump. That's not nothing for Detroit right now. I would like for them to kind of go a little bit more offensive minded. I don't know if they would take more of a swing or more of just like an NBA ready guy in a way, like Alex Caravan, good 3-point shooter. But I think I'm going to have them go with one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I'm actually not sure where he's going to be ranked. There he is, Joshua Jefferson, kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, but just like I compared him to Tristan De Silva. He might be like Kyle Anderson at the NBA level, but he could shoot the 3 ball. I think he could definitely space the floor. Tobias Harris is getting up there in age. I think you're looking for more of a sure thing than looking at a Sar Thompson and a Ron Holland as a shooter in a way. And Jefferson has phenomenal court vision for somebody at 6'9". I actually love this fit. I know he's not like an insane athletic defender, but he's a very smart and strong defender out there as well. Man, this is one of my favorite picks in the draft. Like, I'm getting somebody that can help them out immediately. Philadelphia is on the clock here at 23 from the Jared McCain trade. A couple guys they could definitely end up looking at here. I mean, they could maybe take a swing. You know who I really like? It might be a little bit of a reach, and I'm not sure where he's also going to be ranked. Sometimes the positions are off as well. Dalen Swain from Texas. His offensive game as of late has been amazing for Texas. He's an insane athletic wing. I think he's going to guard multiple positions at the NBA level. And like Kelly Oubre is going to have such a high workload over these next few weeks with Paul George suspended. They just gave Dominic Barlow a standard contract, but like, we're going to have to see Justin Edwards as like the main wing coming off the bench. You can get Swain, who has size. I don't think he's going to be 6'8", but we'll see what he's ended up listed at the combine. It feels a little tall, but even if he's like 6'6.5", I will definitely take that for somebody who can guard multiple positions, who's going to fight over screens. He can catch an alley-oop from Tyrese Maxey, and he can be just a good defender. And I think a more polished offensive player. I think he's a little bit better than like the idea of a Duke Theroux last year, who went to the Lakers, who were on the clock here at 24. I mean, the Lakers could definitely look at a big man here. Do they like Zubi Ejiofor at this range as well? Does that feel kind of high for them? In a way, Day Mara from Michigan could potentially be a pick. Henry Vasar, if they just want to go like a pure big. So I think we're just going to look for wings that JJ Redick can use as at his disposal. I'm hoping he's also here. Amari Allen from Alabama. Somebody that could be a nice swingman for them. Somebody that can cut, slash. Yeah, you could not reach on a center, but you could take a Henry Vasar or a Daymar if you just want to add more centers into that locker room. But I also don't hate the idea of adding somebody like Amari Allen, who could be a switchable defender for you, who's going to get great looks, and he's going to have to defend well when you're playing out there with maybe Luka Doncic or Austin Reeves, because they're not the greatest defenders in the world because they're using most of their their energy on the offensive end of the floor. And I like that idea. And maybe they bring back Rui Hachimura. Maybe they don't at the end of the year. They just need more wings that could play defense, to be honest with you. Denver at 25. This is where I don't hate the idea of getting another big. I mean, like, Valanciunas could be back. He could go overseas next year. We'll see. Zeke Naji might not go anywhere. They have Duron Holmes still. Do they look for another big? Do they look for another guard if they're just a little bit disappointed in, like, Jalen Pickett this year in a way? Maybe they take Braden Smith. Does Braden Smith end up going in the first round? Miles Uzan. I think Christian Anderson could end up going here. Maybe this is low for Christian Anderson. I just think some of the teams that we were talking about as of late maybe wouldn't just take the chance on like a smaller guard who's a really good offensive player. Like maybe Detroit likes him as the Cade backup. I don't think Philadelphia would end up taking another guard here, but maybe they will after trading away Jared McCain. I mean, he could have gone honestly 21 to Atlanta. He could have honestly gone 19 to the Toronto Raptors. So maybe that's the floor, and that's a home run pick for the Denver Nuggets. So we're on the clock here at 26 with the New York Knicks. I think they need some big man help. I think they also need some defensive wings as well out there. I wish they took Ryan Dunn a couple years ago. They ended up taking Bakomi Dadier. I like Cameron Carr. Carr's not the greatest defender in the world, but I think he gives you plenty of offensive upside in a way for the Knicks, and they kind of need that right away. Their bench has been pretty bad this year. They have maybe Alvarado next year. They may have Landry Shamet. They may have Maz McBride, but I think they need somebody with a little bit more athleticism and size, and that could be Cameron Carr. If not, they could definitely look at one of the centers. Boston here at 27. They trade for Nikola Vucevic. I don't know if they would take a center here specifically. I don't mind them taking Bennett Sturts here. Bennett Sturts is just another point guard option. They're going to have Tatum back. You have Pritchard and Derek White, but this year they had Anthony Simons as the backup guard. He's no longer on the team. They have Hugo Gonzalez. They have Baylor Shireman. They have Jordan Walsh. They have plenty of wings coming off the bench. We'll see if Vucevic is back with like Nemeas Cade and Luka Garza. I think Bennett Sturts, like, this is maybe the floor for him as well. He could definitely go higher. Doesn't turn the ball over. Can initiate the offense extremely well. It could be a solid Boston Celtic. Cavs at 28. This is where I'd like to see either Daymara or Henry Vasar go. I wonder if we'll ever see a Jared Allen trade in the offseason. Who knows? LeBron James could be on this team next year. A Damar gives you just like a massive big that you could throw out in the front court. Maybe Evan Mobley's just the center, and a Damar could be one of the backups. Like Larry Nance probably didn't give you enough this year. Naquan Tomlin is maybe not big enough to be like a rim protecting 5, and a Damar doesn't have to kind of go too far, right? Michigan to Ohio, it's not that far. It's a lame excuse there, but I like that fit. Minnesota at 29. This is the swap with the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to think that they bring back Ayo at the end of the year, but honestly, you never know. So I don't think they would end up going with a guard in this range. I don't mind Alex Caravan as just like a really good 3-point shooter for this team off the bench. We'll see how much more like Berenger will play next year for this team. You can maybe look at like Morris Johnson. You could look at like Malachi Moreno could end up being like the center one coming out of Houston. You could look at some of these guards coming off the bench, Malik Thomas as well. I like Isaiah Evans. I just think they could use another like high movement or like a good movement 3-point shooter in a way. Dante DiVincenzo, I assume, is going to sign an extension whenever he's eligible with them, but you can get Isaiah Evans just to give you another like wing shooter off the bench. And Terrence Shannon Jr. did not develop as a 3-point shooter as you would have liked, or Jalen Clark in a way. So Dallas at number 30. This is a pick from the Anthony Davis trade. We already got AJ DeBanza with the 3rd overall pick. We could go another guard. Dash Daniels, still one of the best point of attack defenders in this draft. Braden Smith, NBA ready, obviously. Maybe like Adrian Woolley if they want a 3-point shooter. Chase Ross has some size. Ibuka from Stanford, Tyler Tanner from Vanderbilt could all be viable options for this team at the moment. I don't hate the idea of Richie Saunders. Will a team actually take him in the 1st round? We'll see. But I think they could end up moving. They could end up moving Gafford in the offseason. They have Derek Lively. I don't hate the idea of Malachi Moreno here from Kentucky. I don't even know if he's listed in this database. He might have to get updated because maybe people thought he was going to be a 2027 guy because this was going to be Jaden Quaidon's team. So I'd probably take him. But if not, I would end up going Henry Vasar, just another big man option, good rebounder, who I think they just need another big, and he can go in the 1st round. So that is my post-trade deadline 2026 NBA mock draft. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree with what I did for your favorite team. Do you like the pick? Do you dislike the pick? Would you have made a different selection with how the board shaped out? Let me know down below. And I'm going to rank every team's future post-trade deadline next probably, so be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.